Okay, Stephen Key here, and guess what? I've got a special guest, Lynn. She's an EventRite student. She is working the program. She's got great ideas. She's showing those ideas to companies. But she's going to tell her story because sometimes it's not so easy, is it, Lynn?
Hi, Stephen. No, it's not at all. It's a wonderful ride, but easy isn't one thing I would characterize the journey as, for sure.
All right. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start with that.
Sure, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on with you today. It's always a pleasure talking with you or anybody in the InventRight program. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, thank you. I'm a professional inventor. I love what I do. I love the opportunity to put out great products to market. I love the journey and the ride of it. Really going back for me, it was absolutely one simple idea. Stephen Key's absolutely best-selling book, right?
Thank you.
So that's a necessity, an absolute necessity to start off. It was what launched everything for me, was that initial read.
But wait a minute, Lynn. But before that, what did you do? You were a teacher, right?
You betcha. Yeah, I taught middle school for some time and found this entrepreneurial side of myself and decided that this was going to be a new path for me. And I was so excited. And when I started reading your book in the evenings, and I thought, okay, this is my next adventure. And it was in a transitional point in my life, and I was ready for that. And it was just the right time and definitely the right resource. And then finding InventRight was the next step in the journey, and getting together with the coaching program, allowing the opportunity for growth and expansion.
But Lynn, how did you know? Because I've seen your work, and your work is spectacular. Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, it's so good that we'll get to this in a minute, that companies actually want you to work for them now because your work is so good. But wait a minute, how did you know that you're teaching middle school, and that's how we first met at some event, and how did you know? Because people are always like, how do I know I'm going to be good at this? I don't have any professional training, so how did you know?
Well, for me, and thank you, I think it's a passion, and I think inventors are passionate people. And when I began to see how simple it really could be, I gained some confidence in the opportunity ahead of me. And between that confidence and that passion, it was just the perfect storm for me to realize this was something that I know that I can do and something I definitely want to try. So for me, it was the moment of realizing that there was a very tangible plan in front of me. There were resources that were available that were very real. And that there was a courage and inspiration in finding the program and really reading. And it was a snowball effect. Once you get
But
in, there's no stop.
you just jumped off the cliff.
You do. And I think inventors as a whole, we're just that people. We just love to jump in and get our feet wet and go after things. And we're persistent and we're creative. And I think that that's just the perfect storm. So yeah,
Okay.
it's been fun.
Now you've done things a little different than some students that come to us, and I really like because you're staying in one industry. Right. And tell us about what that strategy is, because it's paying off now. It took a little bit of work, but talk about the strategy of staying in one industry and why is that important?
Yes. Very, very important. And, I think staying in an industry allows for relationships, bar none. It's the most important part of that opportunity. And you build connections, you learn the industry, you learn what it is to put out a product in your particular niche. And it's okay if you don't have a niche. It's okay if you haven't found that yet. But if you do find what you like, it really is important to at least investigate the opportunities at hand at full length. Because when you spend that time and you really invest, it tends to invest back, and you find the opportunities come forth from that, like being involved in, perhaps opportunities to jump in different teams that because you've gained experience, maybe engineering calls on you, you've got packaging and marketing opportunities because you learn the industry and you learn what it is to contribute.
Okay. You know what's amazing too? You're talking to like all these companies now, right? I mean, is
Right.
it hard to do that? You just pick up the phone, but they seem to be talking to you. What is that because you're investing in them that now they're willing to talk to you?
I absolutely think so. And it's first of all having that confidence in yourself and knowing that you have something that they would like to investigate. It's oftentimes I think that fear is always a big stopper for all of us. But once you realize that fear isn't necessary and that you can have confidence in what you're doing and what you are sharing together and become a team in building that relationship, then they sure do want to talk with you and they want that opportunity to really learn from you as well and see what you have to offer. So it's been very, very just wonderful to connect with people in one particular industry, and they are interested to talk to you because they know you have something to offer them as well. And if you're pleasant, polite, and offer the camaraderie, and you work as a team, there's no telling, there's no ceiling. So
Well,
it's good.
you know what's crazy about that? That's the hardest part for most people, and for some reason they don't think they're qualified, or they don't think they have the resume or the portfolio, or that maybe they're just not worthy. I don't know how people say that, but
Right.
you've done it, and they like your work, they've seen your work, but it took a little bit of time to build that, right? I mean, you have to stay in it a little bit.
Oh yes, definitely. And failure is, a challenging word, but it's part of any business structure. And in the licensing industry, as you've echoed in the program, will echo several times, no is a part of it, and those are learning opportunities, and it takes you down the right path. So when you have those initial struggles and you continue and persist, but you really have to really kind of come into, and it took me a while. You have to understand that that's part of it, but when you persist you find that opportunities will come.
So
So it
how do you deal with the no's? Because you've gotten a few. I know you have. I know you have. So
oh yeah, oh yeah, of course.
how
um
do you deal with it? How do you get back? How do you do that? Okay.
yes, thank you. And it takes a while to find your own way, to cope, in your own way to decide what that means for you. And for me, I've decided that a no is an opportunity. And it took a while to come to that because nobody likes no. No is awful. Nobody likes no. But when you find the opportunity in it, for example, a company tells you, no, I'm sorry, at this time we're not interested. To me, that's no for now. Because there have been many opportunities when I go back and we cycle back around on something, or I ask a few more questions, and through relationships, I get answers. As those things build, those no's can become opportunities. And if it's no, then it leads me to recraft my skill, go back, sharpen my pencils, and get back to some better deliverables for the company.
You know what I like about that? Because one of your products that I believe that just got licensed, okay, you got a no. So how did you go from getting a no to now getting back to a yes? How do you do that?
I think the key is listening in your relationship and really allowing for opportunity for growth, and in asking questions about perhaps what could be done better and what parameters could be adjusted to make it a more viable fit for the company. And knowing those questions is a process. It was definitely a learning experience to know what you don't know, figure that out, and then ask it and have those relationships with the company. But I think in persisting in that way, we were able to tweak, come together. All teams were brought together. I jumped in on several calls. And we kind of just did some troubleshooting. And with a little bit of persistence and again, that relationship, we were able to make a viable product. So it was a great turnaround. And it doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's really neat.
So how does it, just to wrap up, you get a lot of no's. You jump off the cliff. You say, I'm doing this. And then you finally get that sunshine, or you get that, like, I could do this. Someone wants it, and it's going to come to market. How does that feel?
Yes, it's definitely a proud moment. It's a grateful moment. And it's one of the motivation pieces that everybody waits for and looks for. And when it happens, you just have an overwhelming sense of gratitude and joy. And it's just something that you want to spread right away. And it's an opportunity to give back and to turn to others and say, hey, let's work together. And I love that community. And that's one of the reasons, being an InventRight alumni, I love so much about the community. I'm so involved and I love it so much. And we're all lifelong learners. So when you turn around and get back in the community and you share those joys, it fuels others and others fuel me. So it's important to take that moment and have some ice cream or get a pizza and celebrate. Go out, live in it, because you get a lot of no's.
Well, Lynn, thank you very much for giving back, because that's exactly what you did today.
Same, and thank you. Always. You're always giving.
No, the information you provided, I think, is going to show, first of all, two things. Number one, you gotta be tough. You gotta build relationships. You can do it. So, Lynn,
Yes.
thank you very much for sharing your story today.
Thank you, Stephen.
Hi, this is Stephen Key, and I just want to thank you for watching InventRight TV. We're here to save you time, save you money, and show you how you can bring your products to market through licensing. So please subscribe down below, click on the button, and tell your friends. Thank you.